Okie dokie, folks, welcome back to That's Just My Opinion, and today we shall be continuing on with part 3 of Rhythm of War. So, again, we're picking up pretty quick right where we left off with everybody at the end of part 2. We've got the tower under occupation. Oh, sorry, our POVs for this section are Dalinar, Jasnah, Navani, Venli, Eshonai, and Kaladin. For Eshonai, don't get excited, she's still dead. It's only flashbacks. So, anyway, we pick up pretty quickly with the tower under occupation. It's not a good time for Irithyru because we've got Raboniel in charge now. The Pursuer is also there. He's going after Cal, and Venli is there doing her thing. So, Kaladin's basically his entire plot from this is Die Hard, okay? He is just trying to survive, trying to screw with the fused as much as possible, and trying to protect the sibling, keeping these magical nodes that are generating the shield around the sibling as much as possible, trying to protect them. We've got Navani, who is working for Raboniel, kind of like Raboniel's like, you shall be my scholar. And Navani's like, okay, I guess I'll work for you. Raboniel is crazy. I have no idea what her plan is or her motivations. So Kaladin is trying to protect these nodes. It's not going well. Basically, nothing goes well in the tower. Let's just say that much. And of course, Dalinar and Jasnah are off fighting the war. We do get a really cool point of view with Jasnah where she is on the battlefield. That she goes to the front lines to fight, and it's kind of cool for her seeing what's going on. Like, she's experiencing, this is her first time ever in battle, and it's pretty cool. There's some cool stuff between her and Wit. You do find out, I'll get through the war side of things, Dalinar and Jasnah, because there's not a lot that happens with them. They get very few sections in this. First off is Jasnah exuding her control as Queen of Alethkar. There's a whole point where she strong arms a guy, basically manipulates him into challenging her to a fight, and she ends up almost killing him, but she brings Renarin in. And that's another POV, and this is Renarin. And Renarin heals him, and it's okay, but Jasnah, being kind of cold, kind of calculating, even Dalinar's just like, oof. So we get one section from Renarin where Renarin shares one of his visions with Dalinar, that Odium's plans are, it seems like it's going to come down between a showdown between Dalinar and Odium, between their champions, or as Dalinar as a champion. I have theories about this, that there's something with that, but Renarin is kind of the monkey wrench in Odium's plans, because Renarin can see the future as well. It throws Odium off, because it's kind of, if you've read Mistborn, like when the Mistborns use that special metal that lets them see the future, where it's two futures overlapping with each other to the point where you can't see anything, because obviously Renarin can see the future. He can see some of Odium's plans, possibly react to change those futures, so it makes the future not as predictable for Odium. So it's kind of, Renarin is good with his little corrupted spren, his little Gliss, so that's good for them. And Gliss, his corrupted spren, is like, hey, there's more like me. There's more of these corrupted spren that want to bond Radiance. And so maybe we'll get some more of these corrupted spren. I think it'd be kind of cool, especially because Renarin's powers don't work like a normal Radiant, so might be something interesting. I'd like to see maybe some other versions of alternate, Windrunners or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. So we get that. We have Dalinar who starts getting kind of sus about what's going on at the tower, because they have scouts going there, but the scouts are like, we thought we saw some people we recognized, but we were really far away because we couldn't get that close. It looks like they said, we've got the situation under control, but we're not really sure. And Dalinar is kind of just like, okay, we're still getting like letters from Navani, and it's her passcodes are right, but Dalinar ends up getting fully suspect of something's wrong. And he ends up asking the Stormfather for some help, and the Stormfather takes him to ride the storm with him, like he did with Kaladin back, I think, in the first book. It's in the first or the second book when Kaladin rides the storm. So Dalinar gets to ride the storm with the Stormfather, which is pretty cool. He ends up seeing Erethiru, and he actually pulls a bit of a no-no, because the Stormfather says, like, you know, the storm can't stop. He is the storm. And Dalinar really starts kind of challenging the Stormfather, because it's kind of a theme through this book now, is that Spren say they can't change, that Spren are unchanging. They are what they are. But through Syl in this, we see that Spren do change. They can change. They are very capable of change. So we see Dalinar kind of strong-arming the Stormfather, and he does hurt the Stormfather a little bit by what he does, because he like tries to stop the storm so he could spend more time at Erethiru and see what's happening. He finds Kaladin. Kaladin ends up telling him that the tower is under occupation, and Dalinar saves Kaladin from dying, more or less, but by just, you know, kind of pushing him back up into the tower, because Kaladin gets really, really hurt. So yeah, Dalinar knows now that the tower is under occupation, and they got to get back, because I mean that's the whole point throughout the war after Taravangian's betrayal, that they're like, this is still going well. Why did Taravangian betray us if this is still going well for us? This seems not like a good calculated move. And basically me screaming at them, it's because they're hitting you where it hurts the most, because if they lose the tower, they lose the war, basically. They need Erethiru, they need the Oathgates. So yeah, it was kind of frustrating with that. We get Yasna and Wit. Like I said, we got Yasna on the battlefield, which was a really cool scene, and then we have her talking to Wit, and Wit says there are these new beings called the Sleepless Ones. I don't know what they are, and that they were spying on Wit, and that the Ghostbloods are involved with them, and that all of basically their communications have been compromised, and that Yasna and Wit have to assume the Ghostbloods know everything now. And that Wit goes, it's time I told you about old Thydakkar, who Thydakkar is the leader of the Ghostbloods. You also find out that the Ghostbloods are not a Rosharan organization. They're based somewhere else in the Cosmere. And he's like, I'm going to tell you about him. And that's the last Yasna section we get, so we, as the readers, don't know anything more about Thydakkar or the Ghostbloods or anything like that, so that's annoying. Anyway, getting back to what's going on in the tower, we've got Navani, who's talking to the sibling, you know, trying to get the sibling to be more cooperative with humans, but the sibling's like, no, I don't trust humans, but they also really don't trust the singers. But Raboniel is trying to corrupt the sibling with void light and turn them into something else or kill them. And Navani's like, maybe you should trust us. And the sibling's like, no, I will not. And it's kind of annoying. Like, I get what the siblings' mentality is, but they really need to trust the humans, because otherwise Raboniel is just going to kill them. So that's a little obnoxious. And you've got Kaladin and David trying to do their best to thwart the fused, but Kaladin is in not a great place right now, and he doesn't have his flying abilities. He can't use lashings. He can only use his gravitation stuff. So Navani gives him this little fabrial that one of her people invented, which is basically like a gauntlet lift. It's a fabrial that you can use to like kind of pull yourself in directions. So it's kind of a bad imitation of lashings. So Kaladin uses that to try to fight. He ends this book this part in really bad shape. Yeah, dude gets seriously beat up because because there are 4 nodes in the tower that are protecting the sibling. And every time Raboniel finds one, she can start like corrupting the sibling from that node, and then it's up to Kaladin to destroy it. So as the sibling becomes more and more corrupted, radiant powers work less and less. So, like, their healing isn't working as well and all that kind of stuff. It's making it harder for Kaladin to fight, which I did think was kind of an interesting way for Sanderson to nerf radiant abilities and actually make it like the threat of death is much more real for Kaladin right now. So, yeah, that's going on. Oh, you also find out that Lift gets captured, kind of sad. Mraize puts her in a cage and delivers her to Raboniel. Mraize kind of has some sort of deal. He gives Raboniel something. I'm not sure what, but he gives her something and they kind of come to an accord. And then as far as Venli goes in this, Venli is trying to gather the singers together that she has to, at some point when a distraction occurs, that they can run. And that she wants them to escape and form a new listener society. And during this, she and Rlain end up coming back together, and she is no longer the last listener because Rlain is alive. So they're kind of working together now. I mean, Rlain tells her, do something for someone else and once in your selfish life. And yeah, that's the whole point of the flashbacks in this, is we get it from Eshonai and Venli from when they first met the humans, like the very first time they met Gavilar and Dalinar, forward. So it's really interesting to see Venli's selfishness and everything. I mean, Venli basically started the war with the help of, what's his face? I don't remember, but it's that little douche of a Spren, little void Spren that she was hanging around with before everything went bad. It's kind of interesting to see, like, the slide of her character. Like, she was always a little selfish, she was always a little ambitious, and then seeing the void Spren, like, bring that out in her more and more, and like, you will be great. Yeah. And then the other interesting thing with her is she does end up almost swearing the second ideal, because we do find out it is confirmed Venli is a will shaper, which their whole order is about freedom. So Venli does end up swearing the second ideal. She says, I will seek freedom for all. Well, the tone goes off and her oath is not accepted, because right before she swore that oath, she saw Lift trapped in a cage, and she didn't do anything to help her. Didn't even plan on helping her at all. So her oath was not accepted. If she would swear to help all, she got to keep that oath, keep freedom for all. So yeah, kind of interesting that oaths can be rejected. It's kind of an interesting thing. And he also, when she swears that oath, it's a woman's voice that rejects it. So it seems like Cultivation was the one that gave the big old kibosh on Venli gaining the second oath. So I'll be curious to see what happens with Venli if she does end up swearing her next ideal in this book. So yeah, it ends in not great places for everybody. I mean, Raboniel's got the tower is getting corrupted. It's not good. It's a bad time for everybody. Part 4. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot. I gotta talk about the interludes. Let me just double check who is the interludes for this one. Oh yes, we have Seth, Chitty Chitty, and Taravangian. So Seth is pretty cool. It's mostly him with Dalinar, dealing with I am truthless, not anymore, I was never truthless, and we get to see his Spren. We don't know its name. It's a high Spren. And basically the high Spren telling him that, he needs to be ready to swear the next ideal, that he is ready. But part of that is right now, with Seth being sworn at the third ideal for the Skybreakers, is that he is sworn to follow Dalinar, and that his Spren says that part of the Skybreakers is to become the law, that they must look to themselves, and Seth isn't quite ready to make that jump yet, but that's his progression right now. Then Chitty Chitty, if you guys remember, it's the little lizard that eats Stormlight, who is hanging out with Rysn, who is the Thalen merchant who was paralyzed and was pretty crucial to the Battle of Thalen Fields with the gem that they used to trap the Thrill. So Chiri Chiri seems to be like becoming important because at the end she ends up talking for the first time to Risen. It's a little rough, but she does end up saying it. Chiri Chiri knows something. Like there's something that's going to happen, that there is some badness that this little lizard is aware of, and that they are going to help. Chitty Chitty is adorable because she just wants scratchies. She's very, very cute. And then the last part is Taravangian, which Taravangian has figured out after his little chat with Odium at the end of the last part that Odium is afraid of Seth. Not just Seth, Sword Nimmy, because let's destroy evil Seth. No, Sword Nimmy. It's great. But Taravangian tries to talk to Seth, tries to convince him that, he needs to, that Odium's afraid of him. Odium's afraid of him. You gotta do this. And it's on one of his more stupid days, so he doesn't follow his own plan that he had written out on one of his more intelligent days. But Seth basically says, screw you, I am not falling for your lies again, and leaves Taravangian. So not great, because, yeah, they need Sword Nimmy to possibly kill a god. That seems to be kind of the goal right now, to take out Odium, is to find a way to destroy him. We'll see how that goes, because I don't know how you kill a shard. I don't know how that's gonna go. Yeah. Ugh. Not in a great place for everybody right now. I'm hoping things go better in part 4, because we've got the trial coming up in this part with the honor sprint, and hopefully Dalinar will be able to get reinforcements to retake Urithiru. We'll see what happens, but yeah, part 3 does not end in a good place for our hero. So still enjoying the hell out of this. This is still fantastic. 4 out of 5 for part 3. And I will talk to you guys in a little while with part 4.